welcome to the second edition of the Irish Kop Show on Anfield FM. We must have done something right in the first time because Jockey asked us to come back for the second time. And now with us today we've got Damien O'Leary and Paul Larkin again. We've got Ronan Coleman, Sean Maloney and El Presidente, lifetime president of the Irish Kop Fun Bus, and the man with the greatest haircut I've ever seen. Honestly, his hair will not be out of place now from now till 12 o'clock tonight. Anyway, there's loads to talk about. We're going to talk about we'll talk a bit about Shea Fogarty later on, but we're going to talk about how the Irish fans travel over now and the difference in the modern day and when back in the 80s and 70s when lads started first travelling over. I want to talk about Southampton, I want to talk about United, the change of system, Suarez when he came back. I'm going to talk about Brendan Rodgers, Ian Ayre, and we're going to talk a bit about Sunderland and Palace. But first of all, there was a bit of breaking news last night. Kenny Dalglish came back to the club, and I think it's a great thing. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, there'll be a few people that'll be cynical over the whole move. They'll see the owners look as if they're trying to butter up to the fans and stuff like that. But I don't view it like that at all. You know, Kenny is the face of Liverpool for the last 30 odd years since he came to the club in '77 or wherever it was. He's come there. He's managed on 2 occasions. You know, stepped into the breach when it was badly needed at the time. And like I said, to be able to go to have managed, especially the second time, and still be willing to come back. And now we've no idea what his role is going to be coming back to the club on this occasion. But to show the quality of the man, to be willing to come back to represent the club at whatever level the owners want him to do, I think it's fantastic. Also, a couple of ex-players coming back to be part of the academy, Robbie Fowler and Steve McManaman. It's absolutely fabulous. I think it's brilliant. It's going to make for a great occasion today at the Palace game, knowing Kenny's going to be there in the director's box back with the club. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm delighted to see it anyway.
Yeah. There's one thing about Kenny is that he'd have similar to when he came back to the second spell as manager, he'd have a galvanising effect on the club. He'd bring everyone together. If there's different factions of the club, he'd bring them all together. And it's good to have football men on the board again.
Yeah, I think he said when he came in as the manager, he said, I'll do any job that the club wants me to do. I mean, basically this is the second time that he's validated, if you want, the ownership. So I don't think he'd be attached to the club with these owners if he felt they were going to bring us down the bad road, bring us down the wrong road. So for me, it's a vote of confidence for the next 6 or 12 months at least, as he's willing to get involved again.
But as well as that, it's a brave move by Brendan Rodgers, and it sort of shows his confidence in his own ability that he's prepared to have somebody like Kenny above and back in the club.
It is, yeah. There will be a lot of questions asked about if we had much of a say in it, but I'm sure Brendan's not the kind of a person that he'd be afraid to knock at up, bounce an idea off Kenny, and there's no better man out there to knock an idea off him if you want it. His vast experience, and it's just I agree with the lads. It's a great move. I don't think it's pandering to the fans, because I don't think these lads Fenway Sports would really care about things like that. I think it's just the correct move at the correct time.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's badly needed as well. There's a lack of people on our board with genuine football experience. They seem to be more administrators, and the more people we have, like with ex-players now, as Rowan had said, we got Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman and Rob Jones back. That's only a good thing for the club.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant to see him back on board. Absolute legend as a player, and certainly did extremely well as a manager. But it's absolutely brilliant. I think he's probably one of the most important people to have as an ambassador to Liverpool Football Club, and I just hope everything goes well for him.
Yeah, as well as that, somebody of his iconic status should never be away from the club.
Absolutely. I mean, just go back to Ronan's point there, you are going to get the cynics out there. I mean, the week when Robbie Fowler and Kenny Dalglish come back to the club, you're saying, well, what's the bad news, what's coming up around the corner? But look, Kenny, he's a legend, he always will be. One thing I'd like to say as well is, you go out to having these meetings with UEFA or whatever, throughout the season. You're going to the lads Bayern Munich, going to like Rummenigge there. You don't want Ian Ayre going up to you guys, oh, we're Liverpool. You want, an iconic man like Kenny saying, yeah, he's the face of Liverpool, and that's the way to have it.
Yeah, alright, that's that. And now, because it's the Irish Kop Show on Anfield FM, we're just going to get stuck into how Irish fans travel over now, how they used to travel over back in the 80s and different ways of getting to Anfield. And I want to also talk about the use of travel agents. Now, in the modern day, I don't know whether it's a Celtic Tiger thing or that was spawned from that. A lot of people have this perception that to get to Anfield you have to use a travel agent, and I've seen, like, you can open the Sunday papers and there's full page adverts charge you anything up to 450, 460 euro for nothing more than a match ticket to and a one night stay in a hotel. And there's different ways of getting there. Like Shay is, he won't thank me for saying it, he's probably the oldest member of the group here on the bus, but he's that wasn't always the way, Shay, is it? You were one of the original travellers from Ireland to come over.
Initially when we come over, unfortunately now the actual boat doesn't go directly into Liverpool. We have to go Holyhead and then a bus up to Liverpool. But back then the boat went directly into Liverpool. You got off the boat at 6:30 in the morning, and at the first match I ever went, it was Leeds in 1972, and we actually walked up to the ground at 6:30 in the morning and queued. We arrived up about 8 o'clock, got on the queue, waited for the gates to open and paid in. And we did that on a numerous amount of occasions. And certainly today's way is, as you know, your credit card swipe in and your your season tickets, that's the way to go. But back then it was completely different. There was no such thing as going up to the ground with your match ticket and going in and sitting in your lovely seat. It was a standing only, and to me it was a far better crack.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're trying to bring back, sort of the day out with the lads, by having the bus that we have and we go and having the day out with the lads. But Paul, you set up Irish Kop, and like one of the main aims of it was to help people out with cheap travel and like tips for tickets and hotels and stuff like that. Like there's not a lot of awareness still in Ireland about how you can get tickets without using these travel agents, is there?
No, I think a lot of it comes down to laziness as well. Lads just like to the less hassle. You know, if they're only going to be a once a season merchants, you know, they'll just pay the extra few bob to get the ticket. But as you said, we're trying to encourage. I'd rather see a lad go to, instead of spending 400 quid on one match, go to 3 or 4 matches for that money, you know, as we do. And it's great to see when lads join us and get in with the group, and a year or so later they're educated on how to get their tickets and what not to do and all that. That gives me great satisfaction. But generally, you can understand, I suppose, when women are buying presents for fellas and all that, they just want to really pay the money. But it sickens me, especially when you see that fellas are being let down with tickets and there's kids involved and all that. That really sickens me. It's one of the main aims of the site is to try and get the word out there that it's not your only option, the travel aids. It's, you know, there is independent lads out there and they're travelling the games and it's all done at cost price, and supporters clubs are good for some people, but the way the internet now, you can just meet a group of lads and go that way, and basically it's just a power of numbers. There's so many of us that we can make things cheap.
The other thing is that when we started coming over first, I mean, it was all about football and going to the match, and let's be honest, it still is primarily that's the reason we're here. But it's a great city, it's a great place to come, and in general, when we bring people over, we want them to be an advert. You know, we don't want them to be an embarrassment. And what we find is that money brings an embarrassment. We get a lot of wealthy young lads. There's a lot of unemployment back home at the moment, and a lot of the lads who would go to the game have emigrated. So you get lads, you call them day trippers or once a season, who money's no object to pay, and I suppose they're a bit arrogant as well to go with that. What we want to do is create a way where a normal working class lad can go over, enjoy the game, enjoy supporting the team he likes to see, and enjoy the city, and not make a fool of himself.
Just to come back on that, there's a few things there. Yeah, we're there. It's not just travel. We try to educate our lads. Like, there's no you're going to Liverpool to support Liverpool. Like, these lads bringing Ireland flags and stuff like that. You know, just and not being aware of the sun boycott and all that. We're trying to do stuff like that and educate lads about stuff. But not to have a complete, just a kind of a side point. Not to have a complete anti-Irish thing here. At the Notts County game, I think it was, there was a lot of a lot of soccer EM type chants went out. So it's not just Irish fans that need to be educated. That game was I think it was cheap tickets went out for people. So there was a lot of young fans. There was a lot of who are you, and you're not singing anymore kind of chants. We're better than that, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that has to be called out on a local end as well, you know what I mean? We're different, and we always pride ourselves on being different, so it's not just a knocking on Irish thing. There is people to be educated all over the place there.
Yeah, no, it is a general point, but there's one thing, just coming back on the travel agency, it is a big bugbear of mine. It's sort of created this culture where people look in the newspaper, they think it's €400 to go to a game. Jesus Christ, I'm only going to go to one game a year. I'm going to enjoy myself, and so they're going over. They're paying this huge amount of money to go to a game. They're going to do the whole thing. They're going to do the club shop. They're going to spend a couple of £100 in there. They're going to do the museum tour. Like it's not about that, though.
Well, certainly not for me. Anyway, initially my first time ever to travel to a game was 1993, and I remember. I can see. I'll be honest. I can see myself in how I perceive other people come to the game now. When I went first, the novelty of it, the new thing of it, whatever. And like I said, we were coming off back of success. Some people were saying, "Oh, well, you're only going because Liverpool were done so well," and like that. Well, I'm still coming 20 odd years later down the line. So much of going to the game has changed for me nowadays. It's not so much about going and having 90 minutes sitting in Anfield to witness my team playing and hoping to win, and regardless, like that. Nowadays, for me, it's so much of the match day thing is the banter, the socialising with me mates, meeting with me friends. We have a pint, we discuss the match beforehand, we discuss the match afterhand, we discuss all sorts of topics, and central to all that is the game itself and how Liverpool do and all that. And it's when we win, it's great. When we lose, it's not so good, but we live with it, we get by and stuff like that. But like I say, it's changed for me. The whole aspect of the game, or the whole aspect of going to Liverpool and going to the match has changed so much. Like I appreciate being able to go to a city like Liverpool, one of the best cities in the world to go to, enjoying myself there and being part of the whole occasion of going to match and stuff like that. But like I say, it's changed so much for me in the 20 years since I've been going to the game. So much.
Yeah, just one thing I'd like to say there as well is just what you're saying. I mean, the prices we have here for travel agents, it's absolutely astronomical. I mean, you said we were going to talk about this today. I had a quick look yesterday. €400 to see Liverpool play Chelsea or Everton this season. It's absolutely out of this world. I mean, my little one, she's young now, but down the road I want to start bringing her to the game, and I can't pay £100 to bring her over to the game. You come over this and it's like, it's grand, you pay whatever we do, like, and you could probably go to 5-6 trips very easily. You don't want to bring her over, say, "Oh, Dad, that was brilliant, can't wait to go again." Well, sorry, can't bring you over again till next year. And that's what if you're coming with travel agents, that's what you're going to be caught up in. Like, €400 for a one-night trip. Come on.
But it's awareness about it as well, because the club, I think, now this is my perception of it, the club don't want fans like us who's coming in to the ground 5 minutes before kick-off. We're not buying a programme, we're not buying a pie, we're not buying anything. We're basically buying a match ticket. And I think that's why the club haven't raised awareness of the high prices from travel agents.
It was also suggested to me on a few occasions why don't we put an ad underneath these ads in the paper and kind of get lads that way. And my answer to that question is we don't want lads to use us as a travel agent. If you're a match going lad, you will bump into us at some stage somewhere. Our lads are at every match home and away. There's a group of us. So if you're a match going lad, you'll bump into us. You'll find us that way. There's no point in us. We don't need to advertise for members, And if we do, we'll get the wrong kind of member. We'll get someone that just use it. We're not travel agents. We're lads that go to a match and help each other out.
Yeah, well, that's that now pretty much covered. Now it's probably time to talk about the football again. The last time we talked to you was the morning of Southampton, and we all predicted mad stuff. We were going to win 5-0. We were going to win the league. It was a fairly flat performance, and I think from my own perspective, the team selection I thought was wrong. Like, he started with 4 centre halves, and I think Brendan himself recognised that in the substitutions, that he ended up with Toure and Sacco as his preferred centre half partnership. And how do you surmise the game, Shay?
Like, a lot of people thought that no matter what team Brendan Rodgers put out and what formation he played, that we should have bet Southampton. But I have to say, in fairness, they were unbelievable on the day. They actually played Liverpool off the park and thoroughly deserved to win. Now, a lot of players just didn't turn up on the day, but I honestly don't think it was the formation he played. I just think it was our individual players not sort of turning up on the day.
We were flat, weren't we?
Very, very flat. We just didn't seem to know what one another was doing. There was no coordination, and as I say, a lot of the top players just did not perform on the day. But having said that, you do have to give Southampton credit. They were brilliant on the day.
Yeah, we do. We said that at the start that day, that if we were going to win, our midfield had to be better than theirs. That they had Wanyama and Schneidlin in their midfield, and they were forced to every ball.
They were. I think there could have been from us all, even the fans. Before that, we all said we were going to hammer them. I think the team could have taken them for granted as well. But the lack of fullback starting was a huge mistake, obviously, in hindsight. The midfield was just Lucas they just ran all over them, and I think generally it was just a case of taking them for granted. And I don't know, sometimes caught us on the hop. And overall, maybe it's not. Things were probably too easy up to that stage, you know. I know they died again. But Roger said at the start of the season that he's the fittest bunch of players he's ever seen, and they're all, every single match now, nearly at 70 minutes they're dying. So I don't know what. There's some kind of issue there.
Yeah, but on that, even I remember an interview with Stephen Gerrard at the start of the season. He said that it was the hardest pre-season he'd ever put in. So it's a case that the players, they may be overtrained.
I to be honest, I wouldn't be 100% too sure, Jack, because I didn't follow much of the pre-season or stuff like that. But it can be a case in point, because pre-season, you know, there's 7 or 8 games there have to be played before you kick a ball. I suppose there's an awful lot of pressure on managers now to have players hitting the ground first game. For years you'd say, it's early in the season, teams need time to blend and get back into the rhythm. There's no place for that anymore. You've got to hit the ground running, you've got to get points on the board immediately. So like I say, we had done that in our first 3 games, had looked the part, it looked fairly decent enough. We played 3, conceded none, got maximum points, if only for the 3 storage goals. It was great. We looked second to the ball against Swansea then. I don't know why we were so poor in the second half against Swansea. I to be honest, I can't comment too much on the Southampton game because I was away. I was working. I didn't see how the game went, but I did see the highlights and stuff like that. And like again, I'll back up. I'll endorse everything that Shay said there. Like we just looked to be second to the ball every occasion. We looked dead flat. I can't put it down. Has these internationals just at the early part of the season, have they had some impact on the team? I don't know. I'm not too sure. But like I say, players, they're not robots. They can't perform to a certain level all the time. You're going to have off days. Let's give credit to Southampton. It wasn't a one-off result from them. They've looked particularly strong so far in the early part of the season. You'll have teams like that. We've seen it over the years. There's always a rookie team comes along, shakes up the pack early on. I don't think they'll sustain it, but they'll get results this side of Christmas. Is going to not only do us no favours, but also going to do some of our main rivals for challenge of our top 4 positions no favours as well.
Yeah, well, just on Southampton, I mean, I do think they are a good side since this guy Pochettino comes in. Is that how you pronounce it? Pochettino, whatever it is. I mean,
Nobody can pronounce his name.
I mean, he's a good manager and he's building a good side there. I mean, I fully expect him to finish in the top 8 this season, and I also expect him to go to the likes of Old Trafford, the Emirates, and challenge and get points here. You know, just on the whole pre-season thing. I mean, Gerrard has said it was his toughest pre-season, and I mean, you look, we're in the first start in October, and Lucas is suspended already from 5 yellow cards.
But it is that is a noticeable drop off in us in every game we played this season. After an hour, we're gone.
Well, I don't think it's to do with tiredness. I don't think it's to do with lack of fitness. It's quite the opposite. I just think that maybe the formation's wrong. It's just too defensive, and you sit back enough, a team will build momentum against you, and it's very hard once that builds up and with 20 minutes go to stop it.
But yeah, look, it was a flat performance, and we got exactly what we deserved out of the game. Like, we got nothing. But we went to Man United then on the Wednesday. There was a change of system, and it improved things.
Yeah, well, obviously the most significant factor there was Luis Suarez was back, and it did give everyone, I thought, a lift. We played a hell of a lot better, and really we should have probably bet them. At least they should have went to extra time. We were just very, very unfortunate. But just as regards to fitness levels, I was at the first match of the season against Stoke, and in all due respect, like at half time it should have been at least forward 5-0. The Stoke goalkeeper was unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeping display like it at Anfield in a long, long time. The next match against Villa was the same. We absolutely battered them in the first half. We should have went in 3 or 4 up again, and having put so much energy, I think, into the first half, they may have got tired in the second half. And I think that's a thing that we sorted out then. When we went to United that time, we dominated, I thought, most of the second half, and as I say, we should have actually bet them. Then last week against Sunderland, I thought we got stronger as the game went on. It wasn't a great performance, but Suarez and Sturridge were absolutely brilliant, and that sort of got us 3 points, which is the main thing at the end of the day.
Well, just on United there now, I think if Luis Suarez had a game before Man United, I think we win there. It's just that little bit of match sharpness when he is the game changer. He's the difference in our side. That's just that little bit of lacking of match sharpness was all did the under one of us that night.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that point will be backed up by how well he played in the next game. On United now, I won't say too much about it because we were at the game and I missed the first 15-20 minutes just because that place is
taxi driver.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into it too much, but it was an even enough game. The possession was split well enough. One thing that I definitely stands out for me, Coutinho would have changed that game and we would have won it. I think that's definitely what would have happened in that case. Lucas started well, but then he faded again. But generally, we competed for the whole 90 minutes. So probably for the first time this season, we were right up there, right at the end, and we did to them what they did to us at Anfield. So we can't. Lucky it was the Capital Cup. It's not the end of the world. We'll get them again. The best thing that came out of the game was probably just give Suarez another game under his belt.
Yeah, just on. Suarez, he didn't have any games under his belt. We missed Coutinho. We should have absolutely battered them that night. Had we taken our chances, we'd have won 4-1. I mean, you had that Henderson chance. Moses should have scored. Suarez chance off the crossbar. And remember that when Sturridge he cut in, he should have just taken a shot. I mean, we should have battered them. But look, I mean, the main thing I take out of that game was we showed an improved performance. We went to Old Trafford, should have won, in my opinion, 3 or 4-1. But if you're going to lose to them, you might as well lose in the third round of the League Cup. Move on. It's more important we get in the top 4 of the season. But
now, just going to talk about the change of system that night. Like, we went 3 at the back, and it's a system I really like if you've got the players to suit, and I think we have, because we've got 5 centre backs at the club, and I think you can make a case for all of them maybe getting pitch time. You got Sacco there, he's going to play, paid 16 million for him, paid 8 million for Laurie. He was playing Champions League with Porto, and he doesn't want to come sit on the bench. You got Skertel, Agar, Toure, after coming in after his performances, he deserves to play. So I think with the centre halves we have, it definitely suits them. You look at maybe the wing back positions. Johnson, when he comes back, he can play that role on the right. I think Martin Kelly can play that role on the right. I can't understand why Martin Kelly's not playing that role on the right. You look at the left side, Enrique is well suited to that. Sissoko is due back from injury after the international break, and it also gives us this opportunity to get Sturridge and Suarez in the same team as well.
Well, the 3 at the back, it was a big, huge fad in the 90s. If I remember correctly, I think the Arsenal great team played 3 at the back before Wenger took over. But it's I wouldn't rely on it too much. It's a good system, but you're right. Your fella on the right and the left of it has to be comfortable going into right back and going into left back. And I don't know. We can do it in certain games, but it plays well against a 4-4-2 in my mind. But against a team playing one up front, you've men over. You can be pinned back very easy with it. In that, if you go behind in the game, it's not very. If we were 1-0 down, and if I was the opposition manager, what I do is I push the 2 wingers up forward. What happens then is you have to pull your wing backs back in. Now you're 1 behind and you're playing with a 5-man defence. It's very hard to get out there. So I think against weaker teams, it might be the way to go forward. But tactically, I you'd want other tricks in your bag, you know. It's not. It's too easy to get pinned in. If you're a tactically astute manager, that's what you do when you're beating your 1-0. Is push the wingers up, and then you've a back five when you're chasing the game.
Yeah, there's a crucial position in that for me now, and that's, I don't know where this phrase has come from over the last year, the number 10. It used to be just the lad that dropped off in the hole. We played Moses there now the last couple of games, and when we played this system back in the 90s, we had Steve McManaman who played this role, and you know, you're looking like that. That's, you can just see like that's where Coutinho's coming in, and then when we do get all our players back, like you're looking at having Suarez, Coutinho, Sturridge on the one team. Like it's tasty enough, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, if you're still talking about the three at the back, I mean, I suppose we've kind of forced ourselves into a position where we have to play three at the back. Look what we have. Yeah, I mean, and they're all quality centre halves. I mean, you can't just play two every week and keep three on the bench or whatever it is, you know. And then in front of that, then what I don't get about the three at the back is, if you've got three at the back, you don't have to actually play 1, 2, 3 here just in a row. I mean, one or two of them need to be kind of pushing up. And it kind of comes to number 10 then. I mean, Gerrard always played that role fantastically over the years. I know he's 33 now or whatever, but this role where he's sitting back doesn't suit him. It just doesn't suit him. So why can't you have someone like Sacco or Agger kind of pushing up, sitting there next to Lucas, and let Gerrard go forward?
Couldn't Toure play?
Yeah.
That defence?
Yeah, why not?
He played it for Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allow Gerrard that fucking 60, 70 minutes up there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it, because I mean, you're just Lucas at the moment. Gerrard, 60 minutes into the game, I mean, I love the guy. The man's an absolute legend, but his head just, that Southampton game, his head was down. The last 30 minutes, you just saw him and you knew we weren't getting back in this game.
But just, before you can go off on a little sidetrack, like just about that, just about Gerrard in the role he's playing. Like over the years, no manager has ever trusted Gerrard to play that central midfield role. You go back, Houllier played him on the right, Houllier played him off the front. Rafa played him anywhere but the central midfield. Like Ericsson when he was playing for England, and they, like, nobody seemed to ever want to play him. Everyone sort of wanted to get Gerrard up into the area of the pitch where he's going to do damage up into the left. And when Gerrard played wide right for us in 2006, he got Player of the Year. I think he scored 33 goals. In the year 08-09, like when we went and nearly won the league, like Gerrard was unstoppable. Like, is there a case for shifting him up there and maybe having Henderson in beside Lucas, or maybe shifting Toure up?
Well, when you talk about Gerrard then, the Gerrard then is a different player to the Gerrard now, you know. So I don't know if he can be as adaptable like that as he was when he was at his peak from 2005 through to 2009, 2010. Like, he was one of the best players in the world. And I can understand why managers used him like that. Because when you have a player that you can play mid on the right, if you needed even on the left, the middle, he was able to put him. Managers can put him absolutely anywhere and do that. I don't think that's the case now anymore, you know. Ideally, I much prefer to see him sitting just in front of the midfield and then knocking the balls round right and left and stuff like that. You know, sitting in, well, you're probably describing that number 10 position. I think ideally that's his best position now. And then we have the firepower. He will pick them out. We have the firepower up front to bang the goals in. We don't need him to have to be doing the drive and direct football at goal anymore like he was when he was at his best. Sitting just with a midfield where he can not protect the midfield, but get the ball to him and he will pick out the players and put the ball in the net. I think that's what Gerrard is best at now.